Hello. First of all, thank you so much for coming here. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is ŞÜKRÜ Dinçer. I am the Global Marketing Head of Unilever Food Solutions. As we've mentioned our name, Food Solutions, let me give you some brief information about this. We are present in 75 countries in the world, and we have about 2.5 million restaurants whom we serve professionally in terms of food and beverage services. And what we are trying to do is to make sure that we have a meaningful food and beverage sector that caters to a need that works for a purpose. So, what I will be sharing with you today is far away from being commercial. This movement has nothing commercial about it. What we want to do is to make a positive contribution to the sector. We want to make sure that you, the stakeholders, the employees, and if necessary, even the competitors will be brought together. I will be sharing this idea with you for this movement. So, meaningful, I said, and services that or deeds that serve for a purpose are long lasting. We believe that brands that serve a purpose and people who serve a purpose are always more successful. In many countries in the world, there are projects that we have to make a positive contribution. Let me give you one example from Turkey. As you know, food safety is one of the most fundamental issues in Turkey. And to tackle this issue, since 2016, we have been distributing 29,000 certificates to different chefs. In terms of food safety, we have carried out this information and awareness raising activity. This was very important for the sector, and it was carried out in 81 provinces of Turkey. Looking at the development of our sector, non-household consumption is growing in a healthy way. The trends are also feeding this. It's because now the consumers care more about their health and wellness. Then we have urban transformation on one side and urbanization on one side, because in China we have millions of people migrating from rural areas to urban areas every year, and this is a mass migration movement in the world, and it has its reflections in the food sector, and it brings along a serious amount of growth as well. However, when we talk about food service at international platforms, we always say the following expression. People tend to think it's a B2B sector, but it's a P2P sector, meaning people to people sector, because people are serving other people. We, as the companies, are trying to serve the kitchens and companies, and them in return, they are serving clients and people. So, it's all about human capital, human resources, and qualified human resources. That is your competitive edge. Only if you develop your people, you can further develop the sector. And a big challenge, a big issue that we face all around the world is the lack of qualified or skilled people, skilled staff, and to retain them, and more importantly, give them room for development in your kitchens, in your facilities. So, I will share the findings of a couple of research initiatives that we have carried out. Well, honestly, we didn't expect to see these results when we initiated this research. This research, by the way, was participated by UK, the States, Indonesia, China, and Brazil, meaning developed and emerging countries were assessed together. Let me share the findings of this research immediately. We have interviewed about 1,000 chefs, and 53% of them say that they had an emotional or nervous breakdown at one point in time in their kitchens, because they are working under a lot of stress and they feel burnt out and they have lack of sleep. maybe you would remember Meryem Uzerli, the famous actress, introduced us with the concept of this burnt out syndrome. But looking at the data, we can see that many people working in the restaurant business feel burnt out all the time. And this brings along depression and emotional problems as well. And as a result of all these things, people feel that they are not taken into consideration. There is not enough time for themselves. They have limited options for promotions or career development. So at the end of the day, they either quit their job or move to a different sector. And one of the findings that really surprised us was that about 1/4 of these people are verbally or physically harassed during work in the kitchen. So imagine all this data together and imagine a person working at a restaurant every single evening who is never appreciated, who is under a lot of stress, who has to cope with all these challenges that I've talked about. So maybe we can describe this type of psychology by the following analogy. Imagine that you are an actor or an actress, you are on stage every single evening, you are performing every single evening, but the curtain is always down, nobody is applauding, you're never appreciated and sees what you do. So this is the psychology of the human resources that we have. So most recently, we also checked the data from Turkey. By the way, the findings I shared with you were from 2017-18, but a similar trend is also seen in Turkey. We have emotional problems, we have a lot of depression, and many people have openly declared that they are using antidepressants, and we have this burnt out syndrome. And people think they aren't appreciated enough, and everybody talks negatively about career opportunities and promotions. So the idea of all this, the bottom line is that, and I'm here to share that with you today, we need to make sure that our sector will be made a more attractive sector. We need to attract more qualified people to this sector. This is very important for the future of this sector, and this can only be achieved if we can create a positive environment, a positive work environment, a positive kitchen culture. And when we talk about a positive environment, we're talking about a place where we don't have any of these syndromes, a workplace free of these negative elements. Let me share some more data. This is from the World Restaurants Association, and the data mainly comes from the States. As you know, US is the biggest food service market in the world. This is the last 3 years problems in the sector. So the biggest problem, as well as the biggest growing problem, is a staff problem, meaning there is a problem in terms of finding qualified staff to work in this sector. So fair kitchens. This is the idea that I want to share with you today. Well, this is still work in progress, but I wanted to use this platform as an opportunity to give you a preview of this. What do we mean by fair kitchens? Maybe this video can tell this to you better.
I was shouting, I was pushing. And one day, 12 chefs out of 18 didn't show up to work.
Sometimes you only feel the stress factor of the job.
Our vision has become to make the 17 million restaurants around the world better places to work, what we call fair kitchens. And as a result, they're more successful, they're more profitable, and consumers actually want to make the choice to go to those restaurants because they are fair kitchens.
You get to retain your staff for much longer because they believe in your goal, because they love coming in here, because they feel comfortable, because they've worked in so many other restaurants where they weren't treated the same. You know, a lot of places call themselves a family, but this truly is.
If I'm honest with people, and everyone is taught how to cook, not just told to do it better, that can give you a positive workplace.
The creativity that they can have, the freedom that they have, you can see on a day-to-day, and it's full restaurant every day.
Yes. Fair kitchens is an important movement. And the idea that we want to present you is exactly this. We want to make sure that the kitchens, the restaurants, and these facilities will become places where we have right values, where we have equality, respect for one another. We want to create such environments. So to start with, we developed this code of behavior together with the chefs. We're talking about a fair kitchen, but we also are talking about a code of conduct. We need to talk openly and honestly. We need to work with passion, act as a team, and give each other some time, because everyone can go through hard times, and also appreciation. Saying a word of thank you or well done is important. So I would like to finish with a question. Let's have a show of hands. The question is the following. On the left-hand side, you see a nice dish, a nice plate. If you knew that this dish was prepared by someone who lacks sleep, who was mistreated, who has psychological issues, if you knew this fact, would you be able to enjoy this dish? Show of hands, who says yes? Thank you. Thank you. Because this is also what we believe with this fair kitchen movement. Most of the time, when you eat outside at a restaurant, we tend to forget about the human dimension of the issue. Who prepared that dish? So, in summary, of course, such a dish wouldn't taste that well. But there is another question that is also important. Would a plate or a dish cost the psychology or physical and psychological well-being of a person? Of course, it shouldn't be the case. So based on this question, we want to do something, because whenever we ask this question to the clients, to the consumers, we believe we will get the same answer. So fair kitchens won't be important only for the sake of the kitchen, but it will also be a quality standard that will make customers prefer your restaurant. And I would like to close with a call to all of you. Join the movement. This is our website. You can follow us on the digital platform as well. We have certain apps and we have training material presented here. So once again, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this Fair Kitchens movement will be brought to Turkey as well very soon.